From the nation's capital, Eye on Washington with Marilee Joyce. A weekly discussion about the federal issues most important to Nevada. And now, from Washington, D.C., here's Marilee Joyce.
And good day to you. I'm Marilee Joyce. This is Eye on Washington, the only statewide Nevada news program produced in Washington, D.C. And every week, Eye on Washington takes you straight to Capitol Hill for a discussion with Nevada's delegation and other leaders about the federal matters that matter most to you. Today's topic, a bet you cannot win. We're going to look at gambling addiction, what's being done in Nevada and nationally to help those who cannot control their casino and online compulsions. My very special guest today, he's been here before. He is Mr. Keith Whyte, the Executive Director of the Washington, D.C. based National Council for Problem Gambling. And thanks for being with us again today.
Oh, it's always a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. Alcohol, drugs, shopping, other addictions, they have clearly seen impacts. Addictive gambling? Well, sometimes no one notices until family, friends, jobs, savings, and very lives are lost. And today on Eye on Washington, we're going to look at the seriousness of gambling addiction in Nevada and nationally. We're going to learn about the warning signs that loved ones can look for, and we're going to give you the resources you need to treat and heal from your addictive behavior. According to Wallet Hub, Nevada ranks first for gambling addiction, which doesn't surprise you too much given the easy access to both brick and mortar and online casinos. But it might interest you to know that South Dakota ranks second. Riverboat casino-heavy Mississippi's third, followed by Montana and Oklahoma, rounding out the top five. Wallet Hub used two criteria for its ranking. Gambling friendliness, 70 points, and that included the number of commercial and tribal casinos, gambling machines per 1,000 individuals, gaming revenue per capita, lottery sales, and sports and horse race gambling. Gambling problem and treatments ranked for 30 points, and that's the number of those affected, and availability of treatment centers and other help, as well as the number of arrests. So, Mr. Whyte, it's interesting that Nevada doesn't rank higher for treatment. It's number one for problem, number 12 for the top 10 treatment, according to this. I know there are other, of course, sources as well that do these rankings. And the let's see, the top five for treatment are Mississippi, Hawaii, Illinois, Tennessee, and Maryland. And some most rank much lower for problem, like it says Illinois is 21st, Hawaii is 27th. Anyway, why is this? What is there better access and better coordination for treatment in some states than others? How does this all work?
Well, we wouldn't place a whole lot of stock in Wallet Hub as a source of gambling addiction specific information. So they didn't consult with us, and as far as I know, their criteria include a lot of things that we don't necessarily look at. Okay. What we can say though is when we look at Nevada's treatment programs and prevention programs, they started late. I mean, it's no surprise that before 2005 there was no public funding for problem gambling programs in the state. Okay. It was all privately funded. So there were programs in place, but they were uncoordinated and ad hoc. They were mainly run by our state chapter. So now that we have some public funding to match the private funding that is mainly provided through the casino community, Nevada is actually doing fairly well in terms of having programs looking at things like seniors, looking at youth risk, and also in trying to extend responsible gaming throughout their operations.
I do want to mention that the Nevada gaming industry, they do say they're very supportive of you and your organization and how it's devoted to helping solve the problem. Right. Are they new to the party, or how long has this been going on? I know that I've had Jan Jones, for instance, a wonderful woman, and with Caesars, the vice president of Caesars. And they're supporters of my program as well. And Ms. Jones has been on the program many times, and we've even done full shows on responsible gambling, and the different programs that Caesars has, the programs that different casinos in Nevada have, and how more and more are coming onto that bandwagon, aren't they?
They are, and I think it's both part and parcel of the industry growing up and maturing, and also expanding outside of the state. So I think in other jurisdictions, like for example Massachusetts, where a number of the major Nevada operators are now have casinos or will be opening casinos, there's a whole new set of regulations that are perhaps expanded a little bit beyond what is in the Silver State. And so I think as these large international, multinational operators like Caesars, MGM, Wynn are facing what the regulations are in some other states and countries, I think that's also flowing back home to Nevada. And so you're seeing their responsible gaming programs improve almost by osmosis, by what folks have been required to do in other jurisdictions, and now they're thinking about doing it, but doing it voluntarily in Nevada.
How serious is the problem overall in Nevada, nationally, and what have you seen in your tenure leading the National Council? Have things gotten better, apparently better as far as more casinos on board and more treatment, but as far as the addicts themselves, online gambling has grown so much that you can hide the problem a lot more, can't you?
Indeed. Daily fantasy sports, every phone can or could be a casino. So I think nationwide what we've seen is the rate of gambling problems, the rate of serious gambling problems hovers somewhere around 1%. At times in our...
This nationally or in Nevada?
Yeah, nationally. And at times in our history it's been up to 2%, it's down to about 1.5. And there's a lot of discussion. There's a lot of studies that will show you this number or that number. But by and large, let's just say 1% of adults would meet criteria for a serious gambling problem. That's a fairly consistent rate.
1% of adults or 1% of gamblers?
1% of adults. So when you look
so
at
it's
just
a lot
people
more
who
than,
gamble,
because at first when you hear 1 to 2%, you're thinking, oh, it's not that
that's
many.
Right. It's not too bad.
But not that many people gamble.
That counts about 15%. Yeah, so that's a general population survey. About 15% of the people in those surveys don't gamble at all. And when you look at people on the floor who may have a problem, it's probably somewhere between 5% of active gamblers would meet criteria. So that's a big number. The good news is it's both preventable and treatable. And in the middle, what we're really focusing on is doing better education, helping people understand if they make a decision to gamble, an adult decision to gamble, that they do so with enough knowledge where they're taking an informed risk.
Okay. And when we return, just what is gambling addiction? Are you at risk? We're going to find out right after this.
You're watching Eye on Washington with Marilee Joyce, brought to you by Caesars Entertainment, Las Vegas Sands Corporation, the Regional Transportation Commission of Washoe County, NV Energy, Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority, the Rogich Communications Group, and Jim Marsh Automotive.
Safety. We all think about it. You think about it when he buckles in, when you check your mirrors and put away your phone. RTC thinks about safety too. In fact, we create it. Center turn lanes mean fewer blind spots. Bike lanes keep cyclists and you safe. Roundabouts reduce injury collisions, and all these crosswalks are designed to keep families like yours safe. Safety is your priority, and it's ours too. Every day, in everything we do.
Want more federal news that affects Nevada, its businesses, and its residents? Then you need to subscribe to Nevada's Washington Watch newsletter, your sole source of online news direct from Washington, D.C. Visit joycecommunications.com and subscribe today.
Planet Hollywood, Paris, Harrah's, Caesar's Palace. It's one of the most exciting skylines in the world, Las Vegas. Caesars Entertainment has nearly 50 casinos worldwide, including these. But no matter which casino you visit, we want you to play responsibly. And if you need help setting or keeping a limit, we hope you'll call this number. You see, we know you're coming to our casinos to have a good time, and we always want you to leave feeling like you did.
How long have we been married there?
For 76 years.
He was kind and generous to me before we married, and he was kind and generous to me all these years. We decided on Meals on Wheels because I was getting to the point where I couldn't do all the things that I had been able to do. We're the Spans. America, let's do lunch.
Drop off a hot meal and say hello. Volunteer by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This girl is very pretty. It's inciting feelings of jealousy in me. We should pick on her.
I'm insecure about some things, so I think we should put some me stuff on here. Maybe even some lies, too.
Yeah.
I just want to be accepted by you both. So I'm going to send this to my friends so they think I'm cool.
Kids bully for all kinds of reasons. None of them are good. Find ways to get involved at flipthescriptnow.org.
And welcome back to Eye on Washington, our discussion of gambling addiction and what's being done to treat it. My guest today is Mr. Keith Whyte, the Executive Director of the National Council for Problem Gambling. According to casino.org, gambling addiction is an impulse control disorder similar to pyromania. The person compulsively performs the activity and can't stop even when they realize it's hurting them or their loved ones. There is compulsive or pathological gambling. There's binge gambling and problem gambling. Part of the draw might be found in biology. Brain imaging shows a neurological response similar to how a cocaine addict feels after a dose of coke. And there's big, big money in gambling addiction. Casino.org says more than $500 billion is spent in annual wagers by addicts. Negative effects include financial and mental strain, even job loss, poverty, and home loss. Rifts in relationship with family and friends lead to domestic violence and divorce. In the worst case, there is suicide. And Mr. Whyte, what myths are there around the problem? I saw one that we should pay off their debts and
yeah, we call that a
right.
bailout in the treatment community. So the good news is that problem gambling is preventable and treatable. You know, the bad news is that, of course, it can become quite serious, and we often call it the hidden addiction because, as you said earlier, there are few outward physical signs. So often people that come into treatment have much worse levels of problems. They've been gambling a lot longer. They've done enormous devastation to themselves,
right.
their family and friends. So one of the big myths is that it's mainly a financial problem. That mainly, if you could just give someone enough money or if they could just make enough money, they would stop gambling. That really ignores the compulsivity of this. It ignores the fact that that's the only time they feel alive is when they're gambling. So it's not just a financial problem, and it's not just a question of weak will or willpower. People always assume that as well. And in fact, in many addicts, it takes enormous will to keep doing this thing that you know is causing you so much pain and devastation, and to keep doing it over and over again compulsively because you feel like you have no other choice.
You know, some addictions, shopping or binge eating or whatever, you can see it. You can see it. A lot of times, gambling addiction, you don't see any signs until you've lost your loved one, maybe your home, certainly your job, etc. Is that correct?
It can be. And so for a lot of recreational or heavy recreational gamblers, it might be very hard to draw a line between what's heavy recreational gambling and what has started to become a gambling problem.
Does the person who is addicted, do they always know it themselves?
Not necessarily.
A lot of denial, maybe?
There's a tremendous amount of denial, a tremendous amount of shame and stigma, and a tremendous amount, just frankly, of misunderstanding. Even people who are well educated and think that a substance abuse problem is a medical disorder will think of gambling differently. They'll think of gambling addiction as more of a religious thing or financial thing. And so so there's a lot of misunderstanding, there's a lot of hiddenness, and there's a lot of denial, and that makes it very, very difficult.
In Nevada, about 4 to 5% of gamblers are gambling addicts?
Probably active gamblers, yeah.
How many? What percentage seek treatment?
Very low. So it's rare. It's usually around 1% of folks that actively seek treatment, we think. So yeah, we think there's a lot of.
Do they not seek treatment until they're really at rock bottom, until they are really starting to lose their job and their homes and
classically
loved ones?
That's what happens is they wait for a very long time, and many gamblers think they're always one bet away from winning everything back. And we know that the earlier you seek help, the more likely it is you'll be able to succeed. The less damage there is, and the more we can help fix that problem. Waiting until they hit rock bottom, which is kind of the classic or traditional stereotype, means that sometimes that damage almost can't be replaced.
We're out of time, but I do want to ask you biologically, deficiencies, some say in norepinephrine and serotonin are linked to compulsive behaviors like this?
Yes, we know that some of these changes, your brain may start differently, and it may become different. Heavy repeated use of things like gambling can change the brain.
Okay. When we return, are you or a loved one addicted to gambling? We're going to have the gambling addiction quiz. Get ready for it. It's coming up next.
Nevada's direct link to Capitol Hill. Eye on Washington with Marilee Joyce. The only statewide Nevada news show based in Washington, D.C. All the top federal matters that matter most to Nevadans. Marilee talks with our congressional delegation and other leaders about the federal news you need to know. Eye on Washington with Marilee Joyce. Nevada's Eye on Capitol Hill.
Safety. We all think about it. You think about it when he buckles in, when you check your mirrors and put away your phone. RTC thinks about safety too. In fact, we create it. Center turn lanes mean fewer blind spots. Bike lanes keep cyclists and you safe. Roundabouts reduce injury collisions. And all these crosswalks are designed to keep families like yours safe. Safety is your priority, and it's ours too. Every day, in everything we do.
We're not a miracle drug. We're not a technology. We're not doctors. Just the hope, which can often be the best cure of all. The Ronald McDonald House, a home away from home for seriously ill children and their families.
Planet Hollywood, Paris, Harrah's, Caesar's Palace. It's one of the most exciting skylines in the world, Las Vegas. Caesars Entertainment has nearly 50 casinos worldwide, including these. But no matter which casino you visit, we want you to play responsibly. And if you need help setting or keeping a limit, we hope you'll call this number. You see, we know you're coming to our casinos to have a good time, and we always want you to leave feeling like you did.
Safety. We all think about it. You think about it when he buckles in, when you check your mirrors and put away your phone. RTC thinks about safety too. In fact, we create it. Center turn lanes mean fewer blind spots. Bike lanes keep cyclists and you safe. Roundabouts reduce injury collisions. And all these crosswalks are designed to keep families like yours safe. Safety is your priority, and it's ours too. Every day, in everything we do.
Welcome back to Eye on Washington, our discussion of gambling addiction and what's being done to treat us. We've been visiting with Mr. Keith Whyte, the Executive Director of the National Council of Problem Gambling. If you're watching today and think you might need help, we are here to help you. So let's find out if you're addicted to gambling, and if so, what treatment is available to you. If you are addicted, you fit most or all of the following. You think constantly about gambling. You feel the need to increase bets to sustain the thrill. You feel agitated whenever you try to cut back. You use the activity to escape from problems or to reduce anxiety. You chase your losses. You jeopardize your relationships in order to gamble. You rely on bailouts from others to meet debts. And you fail in your efforts to control or stop it. Mr. Whyte, you know, the quiz says that the addict might even go as far as to finance bets through illegal acts. Is it that serious?
About 70% of people with severe gambling problems report that they've committed a white-collar crime to finance their gambling.
Wow, that is something. So let's say someone's watching or listening today, and they take this quiz and they score high. What do you recommend as the next step?
Well, so we want to make sure that they actually do talk to a trained professional, you know, so we can't diagnose over the camera. But what we would say is, yeah, if gambling's causing a problem in your life, if you're meeting some of these criteria, the easiest and simplest thing to do is call the 800 number, 800-522-4700.
And we're going to give that to you again later.
Works in Nevada, it works throughout the United States. We had 335,000 calls to that number last year. And so what you're going to get on the end of that line is toll-free, confidential help about how to get the help you need. So it'll refer someone to all the resources that may be available in their area.
Do a lot of people from Nevada call in, or do you break it into?
We do. So it's not disproportionate to the amount of calls
Sure.
we get, per population in other states. But yeah, it's a lot, and it's interesting because a lot of people will come to Las Vegas, will pick up a brochure or a card with the number on it, and then they'll call when they return home. And that's why it's so important that our number is portable. You can call it 24/7 anywhere in the United States.
Great,
You can call,
great.
text, or chat even.
It's good news. Is there a type of therapy that isn't just for general addiction, but is specifically for gambling addiction?
Well, there's variations of it. So most theories that have been used to train and treat addicts will work with gamblers. You just need to match the gambler to the most appropriate theory. But yes, it's certainly, so cognitive behavioral therapy is a very popular method used in many addiction treatments. It's talk therapy, if you will. And it seems to work very well with problem gamblers, especially when it's coupled with a self-help group like Gamblers Anonymous.
How does your organization help? What are other things that you offer?
Well, a lot of what we do is connect people with the help they need. So certainly for the consumers, come directly to us to get the help you need, and we'll provide it there on the state level. The other thing we do is we're advocates for problem gamblers. So we go to the gaming companies and encourage them to do better responsible gaming.
Great.
And last but not least, here in DC, there's a lot of stuff we need to do with the federal government.
And we're going to get into that in our next segment. When we return, just what is the National Council of Problem Gambling, and what is their top federal focus? We're going to find out right after this. Stay with us.
Planet Hollywood, Paris, Harrah's, Caesar's Palace. It's one of the most exciting skylines in the world, Las Vegas. Caesars Entertainment has nearly 50 casinos worldwide, including these. But no matter which casino you visit, we want you to play responsibly. And if you need help setting or keeping a limit, we hope you'll call this number. You see, we know you're coming to our casinos to have a good time, and we always want you to leave feeling like you did.
Nevada's direct link to Capitol Hill. Eye on Washington with Marilee Joyce. The only statewide Nevada news show based in Washington, D.C. All the top federal matters that matter most to Nevadans. Marilee talks with our congressional delegation and other leaders about the federal news you need to know. Eye on Washington with Marilee Joyce. Nevada's Eye on Capitol Hill.
I got my own iPod Touch and use my dad's login to get on gambling sites. Poker is the best, but I'm losing a lot. Since I'm too young to play, they're not allowed to keep the money and my dad won't find out. That's right, isn't it?
Safety. We all think about it. You think about it when he buckles in, when you check your mirrors and put away your phone. RTC thinks about safety too. In fact, we create it. Center turn lanes mean fewer blind spots. Bike lanes keep cyclists and you safe. Roundabouts reduce injury collisions. And all these crosswalks are designed to keep families like yours safe. Safety is your priority, and it's ours too. Every day, in everything we do.
Having your child hospitalized can be a terrifying experience for any parent. In one moment, everything can change. Here at the Reno Ronald McDonald House, we can help. We keep families together when it matters the most by providing a home away from home for families with children in the hospital. Parents who stay at the Ronald McDonald House have more time with their children during the healing process. Please contact us today for more information and to see how you can help. Donate online at rmhc-reno.org.
Want more federal news that affects Nevada, its businesses, and its residents? Then you need to subscribe to Nevada's Washington Watch newsletter, your sole source of online news direct from Washington, D.C. Visit joycecommunications.com and subscribe today.
And we are back with our closing segment of today's show on gambling addiction, what's being done to treat it. We've been visiting with our special guest, Mr. Keith Whyte, the Executive Director of the National Council for Problem Gambling. So just what is my guest's organization and what's being done to help gambling addicts? The NCPG is focused on increasing public awareness of problem gambling and increasing accessibility to and quality of problem gambling services. On the federal and state levels, they work to integrate problem gambling into federal policy and to serve as a resource for state affiliates and agencies. Now, let's start with this. What is your top federal policy hope for 2017?
The first ever federal funding for problem gambling programs. Amazingly enough, there's not a single cent of federal funds dedicated to helping prevent or treat gambling addiction. So, in other words, the state of Nevada has to do it alone, just as every other state does. That's compounded by the craziness of the fact that, as your viewers well know, the federal withholding tax on gambling winnings above $1,200 brings in billions of dollars to Washington, D.C., yet none of it's flowing back to Nevada in terms of help on the health side for a problem that the state desperately needs help on.
How supportive is the Nevada delegation of your organization, and how involved are they in supporting your goals, penning any legislation to bring about some of these goals, and have you spoken with them?
We've had some support. Others have.
And you have new members coming in.
We do, and it's exciting. So our local chapter, the Nevada Council on Problem Gambling, who does all the services in Nevada, they've been very helpful at connecting us with their representatives. We've talked to folks on the Hill. Some have frankly seen this as anti-gambling. Anytime you talk about problem gambling, they see it as a black eye for the industry, and that's very unfortunate.
How do you educate and change that?
It's been difficult, frankly, but I think all we can keep saying is that responsible gaming is a good thing. The casinos support us, the industry supports us. It's time for the representatives to get on board and make sure that federal money is flowing back to Nevada.
I want our statewide viewers and listeners to be able to reach you and your organization. So let's give your website and phone number now. It is ncpgambling.org.
Correct.
And note that there is just one G. It's NCPGambling, like gambling. And the phone number we have on screen is 800-522-4700. That is 800-522-4700. Their Nevada affiliate is based in Las Vegas, online at nevadacouncil.org. Reno's is not affiliated, but it does offer the same type of treatment. You can check out renopgc.org. So let's wrap this up with this. There's a lot of stigma associated with this problem.
Yes.
I imagine it's hard to reach out if you do have the problem. What do you say to a Nevadan watching or listening to us statewide and who needs your help today?
There's hope and help available, and the first step that you take may save your life. This is a problem that is infinitely preventable and treatable, but you have to reach out for help. It's not going to come to you. But people that do, almost 70% of people who've sought help for a problem have been able to quit or abstain from gambling. So
I hope they'll call or check out you online today, because
it works if you work it.
Worst case, it's suicide. We sure don't want that.
Absolutely
Reach out if you need it.
Yep.
Thanks for being here again today.
Marilyn.
I hope we help some people.
Absolutely.
And please get help if you do need it, or help that friend who is suffering. And that does wrap up today's Eye on Washington. For more federal news you care about, you can go to our website. It's joycecommunications.com. While you're there, check out all the federal issues that impact Nevadans. You can like us on Facebook, you can follow me on Twitter, and catch up with any shows you may have missed on our YouTube page. Thanks again for joining us today on Eye on Washington. I am Marilee Joyce in Washington, D.C. I hope you have a great day today.